Good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening.
Now, I got to point out for people watching the video here. Let me see if I can zoom in the camera. I'll try to lean my head over. You might notice I've got a pretty slick hat on my head right here. Yeah, I think you can be able to see it. Yeah, in the camera there.
The pawpaw hat.
The pawpaw hat's got the rope on it. You know, it's making a pretty good comeback. The rope.
Well, I know. That's when I saw those. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm going to go with.
But Bobby Lee, I told him, I said, I'm ready to go play some golf right now. Bobby Lee, you just returned from the Masters. He was in the Masters. They invited him to come play.
Yeah, that's why we're recording a day late. Yeah, they cut me after day one.
Oh, you didn't walk in with a green jacket on, so I was wondering.
No. They saw me out there and they said, yeah, you can just go ahead and we're going to go ahead and cut you. But
did you fight Bob Barker? I guess it'd be his ghost because he's probably dead by now, ain't he?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I know Drew Carey took over on the show for him, but
yeah, I'm curious now. Is Bob Barker dead? You didn't get into any fights with Bob while you were there?
No, didn't see any alligators either, anything like that.
Dang, that dude is still alive. How old do you think Bob Barker is?
95.
You're close. He's rivaling. He's rivaling Paw Pee-wee. He's 99.
He's the same age then.
Yeah.
When will he be 100?
December 12th.
So he's a month and a half younger than my granddad. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
Whew. 99. Dang. So did you beat up any 99-year-olds while you were there?
Got in no physical altercations.
Well, good. All right. Well, there you go.
It might actually be one of the last places on earth where you would get into a fight after having been there. Like it's,
everybody just having a great time.
But I guess the alcohol, because obviously there's a lot of alcohol consumed on the golf course. But aside from that, which now it's the nicest people, the cleanest place you may ever set foot on. It's so, which one thing, probably the biggest thing that throws people off, you can't have your cell phone. So no electronic devices. I don't think you can even have a camera of any kind starting with the actual tournament on Thursday. We were there for a Wednesday practice round for people listening. Par 3 contest was Wednesday as well. But so we could take a camera. We had a digital camera, but you can't have anything that could transmit a signal or anything.
Really?
Which is neat because
you have no distractions.
I stare at this damn thing way too much. And I know I do, and I still do it. And it's just talking to people. Which, of course, we were there with another couple. That's how I got to go. People that have never been or not familiar with it. It's really not very expensive. Like tickets, I mean, they were $100 a piece, face value. Wow. But you have to win the lottery to get them because it's like one of the hardest tickets in all sports to get. But then, you get there. Like we talked to some guys from Ireland.
Really?
Talked to, which of course I was repping my volunteer pride. I had on a Tennessee polo, and there was Tennessee polos everywhere. And I swear I'm biased when it comes to that. But I was shocked because, we saw some Clemson people because you're not very far from, actually we stayed in South Carolina. I mean, it's right on the South Carolina, Georgia line. Yeah. Saw very few UGA fans, saw 2 or 3, but probably saw more Ole Miss fans than aside from Tennessee fans. But Tennessee fans, we're notorious for when we go places. We
rep the colors, man.
Yeah, we wear our stuff. But talked to all kinds of other people from Tennessee or Tennessee fans. And like I say, some guy and his dad from Cincinnati, I had a beer with them.
Was there any other
guy from Ireland? Yeah, I mean, that was just.
Did you have a beer with them?
I was in line to get beers with them.
Did you have Bud Light?
That's the other thing. You don't even know what kind of beer you're drinking. Everything's cheap. The most expensive thing on the menu, white wine was $6. Beers were $5. You had 3 beer choices. You had domestic light beer. I'm 99% sure it was not Bud Light. Imported beer, and then Crow's Nest was the only beer that even had a name.
Crow's Nest.
That's their in-house craft beer.
Did you try it?
Oh yeah.
Very hoppy?
No. It was a wheat ale. So
that'd be pretty good then.
Oh yeah, and it was nearly 90 degrees there yesterday, so it was good.
How many did you have?
Of those, I don't know. But beers were $5. Wine was $6. Nothing else on the menu is over $3.
Wow.
Which They're like signature items are pimento cheese sandwich and an egg salad sandwich. I don't know how many of those.
Egg salad sandwich.
I'd never had egg salad. They were awesome. Like,
Oh, yeah, I've never had one. That just sounds very unappealing.
we got there and they had, I can show you them. We took some pictures of the menu. But they were out of like the breakfast sandwiches, which is shocking because literally like probably a good way to describe it would be if Chick-fil-A hosted a golf event, but then everything cost a fraction of what it should. Because everywhere you go, they're so nice. The lines were long, but they would just, like, you never would stop walking in line. Like, you never, whether it was the bathroom or whatever, you like go in the bathroom, there's like guys everywhere just cleaning everything.
They shake your dick for you when you get done.
Everything but. But I mean, it's literally, they're like, you know, they're directing you in. They're like, you need to go to the front 9 or the back 9, which talk about, do you need a stall or a urinal? And which I never needed a stall, thankfully. It was just always to the urinals. And, man, they just run you through there like cattle. And you're like washing your hands. And you can't even hardly wash your hands because they're like wiping the countertops off.
I feel like that'd be a little stressful if you had to take a shit, though. I feel like you'd be like, feel like you needed to pinch it off real fast.
I don't know, because I never found myself in that situation. But, and yeah, just of course the grounds are just immaculate. I mean, it's
in Georgia, ain't it?
Yeah, Augusta, Georgia. Which,
okay.
And just again, I mean, it's like, it's on the Savannah River that separates South Carolina and Georgia. We actually stayed in South Carolina, but yeah, North Augusta is South Carolina.
So I'm trying to think what part of how far would that part of South Carolina be from Charlotte?
Just straight south, pretty much, because we flew into Charlotte.
Okay, you should have swung by Sorenex on the way.
Well, I was actually, and I didn't even plan this, I was wearing a Sorenex shirt.
I saw that on, yeah.
But and it was kind of didn't make much sense. We flew to Charlotte and then we flew to Greenville.
Gotcha.
But, which didn't make a whole lot of sense because it doesn't really get you a lot closer to Augusta. But it put us on the route that our friends were driving. And so we jumped in the car with them after we had delays. I don't fly a lot. I've flown twice this year, and that's the first time I've flown since COVID. But I've never really run into delays. And I know people always run into delays flying. Oh, man, we had about a 3-hour delay in Charlotte.
Dang.
Getting there. And then today, coming back, we were delayed leaving Greenville. But thank God our flight in Atlanta, because coming back, we flew to Atlanta, thank God it was delayed. But
so you didn't miss your...
Oh, yeah, because otherwise we were going to miss our connecting. And then, like, the next flight that was, like, the one that my wife was looking at we would be on, well, they ended up canceling it. So which, I mean, from Atlanta, surely we would have been able to get on a flight at some point. But, yeah, we were going to be back in time to pick the kids up from school. And then with all that, so we were having to, like, call, like, hey, can y'all pick the kids up? We're not going to be back in time to get them.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But.
Man, I actually typically enjoy flying. But yeah, my buddy Bo, I think it was for like Winter Strong or maybe, I don't remember, Summer Strong. One of the things they were flying, they had to actually sleep in the airport because their stuff got delayed so bad.
Well, and it did not make sense for us to fly in reality. We found really cheap tickets and we were meeting them. And so it was like, well, we can fly into Greenville pretty dang cheap. And
what would it have been, about a 9-hour drive?
Not quite. It's like 8:45 from here. Yeah, you might as well say 9.
Yeah.
And it took us from the time we left our house Tuesday morning until we made it to our rental house there, or Airbnb, whatever you call it, but was 12 hours.
Oh, so you could have got there quicker driving.
Yeah, we did.
You just would have had to drove and...
Yeah, and like today, we could, if we had just gotten up and driven, it would have been just about the same amount of time. But yeah, I mean, you're right, because like I was just telling you earlier, we got to the Memphis airport and my wife was like, you want a beer? It's like 10:30. And I was like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And we got to Charlotte and ate lunch, had a couple of beers, and then flight got delayed and had a couple more beers. And but then you're like getting on a plane and you're like, damn it, I got to pee.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be bad. I could see you and if you break the seal.
Well, the nice thing that the flight from Charlotte to Greenville was literally like,
yeah,
you get up to cruising altitude and you're immediately descending again.
What'd you fly?
American going and Delta coming back.
Delta is pretty dang sharp. I like Delta. Man, American wasn't terrible when I flew it, but Delta was the nicest for me.
I mean, like I say, we experienced delays both ways. with Delta, you obviously go through Atlanta all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, if we had to do it again, we'd probably say we would just drive, or we should have just flown to Atlanta or Charlotte and rented a car. But again, we were meeting up with them, so it really didn't make sense. But yeah, good friends. They messaged just a couple of months ago and were like, "Hey, y'all want to go?" And I was like, "I don't even know what my schedule is, but yeah." Because I put in for tickets every year and just you never get drawn.
Yeah, going to the Masters. I mean, I don't even watch much golf. I like to. I mean, I played in school, but still, I mean, that's an iconic thing. Like to me, that'd be like if somebody called and was like, "Hey, we got Super Bowl tickets. You want to go?"
Well, that's what they were saying. Like some people consider getting Masters tickets harder than the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So like I said, it was only $100 face value, but as we were pulling up, we're like, going through, and there's like scalpers and all, they were offering $2,500 for tickets. Yeah. But
now I guess a guy could buy those that didn't win the lottery. Is that the gist of that?
Yeah.
If you bought them from a scalper.
So you can get tickets, like the legit ways to get tickets are, you win the lottery, so you get the chance. If you win practice round lottery, you get 4, or the chance to buy 4. If you get drawn for the actual tournament, so Thursday through Sunday, you only get 2.
Yeah.
So we were just fortunate they got practice round tickets. That way we could go with them. But, or like obviously members at Augusta National get tickets. Like the players can get tickets. Cause we talked to several people. They were like, "Oh, y'all won the lottery?" And we're like, "Yeah, how'd you get them?" And like, there was some people that had a connection to a player. Some people that were just buying them on the secondary
They were like,
market.
"Yeah, Tiger called and said they had a couple spare tickets."
It wasn't Tiger. Yeah. And well, if you, of course you can like go on, the secondary market, which you're not supposed to do that. And I think if they catch you selling yours, like, say you put them on StubHub, which I don't even know if StubHub will support them or whatever. Yeah. And then I wouldn't be surprised if there's people actually from Augusta National that go on there and buy them. And then, because it's a serial number, and they're like, "Oh, this person that won these tickets turned around and sold them."
So I guess
you're
if
you're going to be banned for life.
If you bought them, they would probably honor them though. But they would just get the people that sold them.
They don't know, because when you get there, I mean, to the gate, like they're not saying like we got to have your ID and all that.
Yeah,
it's just you just have to scan your ticket.
Yeah,
but
no,
if somehow they figured out that you were selling them. That's what I was telling you, like with the store and the apparel, because it was such a big deal to be able to even go to the pro shop. But because you can't buy it, like they don't even sell it on their website.
Yeah,
but people will do that too. I'm sure you'll be able to get on eBay next week, and they'll be selling Masters polos, and Masters hats, and
I left the tag on this one. No.
Put that on there for $100.
Yeah, Bobby Lee's gonna be like, or Kaylin's gonna see on Facebook, "Logan's selling a hat."
Selling a Masters hat.
No, man, that is cool. That is really cool. That's something. I mean, that to me really is a once in a lifetime opportunity to go to something like that.
That's what I told him. I was like, "Man, I want to come back, but I mean, who knows when we'll ever get to?"
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like we're going to have to go to Georgia for a football game or something.
Oh, yeah, well, that's right. Knoxville, because they play.
Oh, is it in Knoxville?
They play in Knoxville this year. And I actually looked, because they've changed up the SEC football schedules. We now play Georgia really late in the year, so you should be done with harvest as long as it doesn't turn into.
When is when?
Oh,
December time frame?
No, it won't be that late. It'll be November, though.
I usually shoot, I finished up like the first week of November last year.
Yeah, I think we play them. It's probably the 9th or 10th game this year, so that'll put us like second weekend or so in November.
Okay, well, we can make that happen. I'm glad that he reached out to us, told us that.
Oh yeah, I told him definitely. I was like, if I end up there, so November 18th.
Okay,
actually that's the 11th game. That's our next to last.
That's pretty late into the season.
That'll be the weekend before Thanksgiving. Yeah.
We can make that happen.
It should be if things shape up, like Tennessee wins the games they should win, and I'll throw a little shade at them. Georgia's schedule this year is softer than Charmin, and I mean that's really not an exaggeration. Like I remember when they were running out of content during the national championship game because it was over with by the time the coin hit the ground.
Yeah,
they were like showing, because that's got to be a terrible position to be in as a broadcasters. You know, the game
It was just a
63
murder.
to nothing. And it's like, what do we talk about?
Yeah.
So they were like looking at Georgia's upcoming schedule. It's like, oh my God, like they literally, I'm pretty sure if you go ahead and look at the Vegas odds, like the way too early, I'm sure their trip to Knoxville will be the game that they're favored by the least. It'll be the shortest line.
Yeah.
And they'll still be, I mean, it'll change between now and kickoff, but I would say they'll be 10-point favorites.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't know that they'll be less than a 3-touchdown favorite in any other game.
Yeah. Jeez.
But anyway.
Well, before we get to update on what we had happen here, I want to take a couple questions. We got a couple more questions.
Yep.
So, Grady Womble writes in, "Hey guys, I know y'all talk about this often, but I'd like to know your thoughts on trying to acquire more row crop ground. As a small, trying to get going farmer here in South Georgia,
Okay.
there's almost no way of getting more ground unless you are cutthroat and pay way more than the guy that's currently farming it. I've talked to several landowners and tried to be a good guy and not rob land from another farmer. Haven't had any luck on getting more land, so my question is, when it comes to renting/leasing farmland, do the nice guys ever win? Or what else could I try to rent more land?" Appreciate you writing in, first off.
I'd say the nice guys can win sometimes, but I would say that's probably more the exception than the rule.
Yeah. Well, I've got an interesting, kind of an interesting take on it. So, I mean, and I'm very open on here. This year, I'll be working about 1,500 acres this year. And this is my 9th season, I think, if I counted them out right. I started in 2015. And really, to me, that's a pretty good growth in that amount of time. Now, I'll just share kind of how I did it. And basically, I just called all the other landowners and told them I'd pay more than the guy working the ground. No, I didn't do that. That's what some guys around here do, and then they're also the ones everybody hates. The way that I began is, which we've talked about before, is really strongly encourage you to try to buy the land, to buy any land you can. But the biggest thing, and I don't know your background. I don't know if you have family involved. That obviously helps. If you have no family involved, I'll tell you, one of the biggest things is actually to let people know that you're looking. There is nothing wrong in my book with talking to landowners and telling them, hey, if you ever decide to change, I'd love an opportunity. Like, I think that's the way you do it. You can let people know that you're interested in picking up ground, but without going around and saying, hey, what's the guy paying you? I'll pay more. That to me that's when it gets shady. Whenever you start saying, I'll pay more than the guy you got. And that also that hurts all the farmers, because then the landowner will have this expectation of this big money rent, and that bleeds over onto all the other properties, and eventually it's like nobody can hardly afford any of the land. But I would put it out there that you're looking. I'd share it on social media, share it on Facebook, make you a nice little write-up. I actually even have some pamphlets. I made pamphlets that tell about me, tell about my operation, my practices, what you can expect. I've sent those out in the mail some before. Had very little response out of it, but I would still send those out, put it on social media, and talk to your reps. One of the biggest things is talk to some of your, wherever you buy seed from, chemical from. Let those guys know that you're looking. Talk to your people at your local FSA agent. Let them know you desperately need some land. You're looking and you're motivated. And again, they might can help you out. And the one thing that's kind of, I guess, in favor is most people, a lot of people do root for the underdog.
Right. Well, it just depends on who.
Yeah, not everybody. But
Well, and there may be like some of those fringe acres, like you were saying, talking to your people in the industry that may know, like, hey, this guy works this farm, but it's a little bit out of the way. It's only 20 acres. Like, it's real patchy,
Yeah.
and they really are probably going to let it go. And, hey, because I know they're going to let it go, but you're going to need to be one of the first people to make that phone call.
Yeah, you do got to be prepared. Starting out, you're working the scraps. You're getting the scraps. But, I'll tell you, the best advertisement for your farm is your crops. If you have really good crops and people drive by and see a really good looking crop, people want to see good looking crops.
Well, and that goes back to, it depends on the landowner too, because we've got landowners around here that have maybe never set foot on the farm.
Yeah.
They live, on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
They may not even be here once a year. And so, they have no idea, that's probably going to be the ones that
they just want the most money.
Either the highest bidder or just whoever they have a pre-existing relationship with.
Yep.
But then, if you got a guy that maybe quit farming, but is the landowner, used to working himself, that's probably somebody who's going to care a whole lot more about, how it looks, or exact practices you're doing, or maybe the family still, maybe they've never farmed, but they live essentially on the farm, or they live right there adjacent to it. They're probably going to like for you to have clean fields that look nice and look pretty, and you don't have junk equipment that you leave parked out there half the year, or anything like that.
That's another thing I was going to say. There's look, everybody, and again, this really would apply for the guys that they see their farm, but it also works for your neighbors. Especially if it's a farm on like a busy road and people are driving by. That's one of the reasons why, like, I like my specific big trucks, like my semi trucks. Like, I got the W9 and the Peterbilt, and I'm kind of steadily tinkering with them, trying to fix them up and make them, hell, to be honest, make them look cool. And my combine, like, I got a 680, and I pressure wash it before I put it up. I try to have it look good. I try to get my stuff looking good. And you don't have to have new stuff to look good. Like, my tractor is a 2004. I just take care of it and it looks good. And so people want to people like to have cool stuff. It sounds silly. And I used to kind of be like, that's dumb. But statistics do show that people, they have an emotional reaction to like what's cool and stuff like that. So, if they pull up and, man, there's some sharp, shiny, awesome looking equipment in the field. And there's actually an element too, because you might have a guy that's like, well, I can't afford stuff that looks good. There is a flip side of that coin where if a guy shows up and there's like an antique, tricked out John Deere tractor planting, because I got a buddy that has an old, probably, hell, I don't even know the number, maybe like a 50 series something John Deere tractor. It'd be like a 70 model, and it's got duals on it. He repainted it like green, and it looks sharp. And he had John Deere retrofit everything so he could run his planters and stuff on it. Got a chrome stack on the thing. It looks badass. Like,
yeah,
and like that's cool. Like, there's a cool element to this old metal out here, and it's been tricked out. So you want it to look cool. And I actually picked up on this in a podcast that I had sent you a clip of, that guy from Herd Quitter that was talking about the Angus cattle. He was talking about renting ground, and he talked about how getting into, kind of letting people know you're doing, and it's in the same category, you're doing kind of cool practices. Today, people are really into this sustainable regenerative ag push. And so, I do cover crops, and I'd kind of leverage that a little bit. Let people know, like, all right, I'm going the route of cover crops. I don't know if you do cover crops, I don't know your style, but kind of think of ways like that where you can set your operation apart. What do you offer besides, if you're like we are in our area, we got the guys around here that will pay double the rent that everybody else can afford. And so it's like, how do you compete with them? And you got to set yourself apart, because I'm not going to go broke paying rent. And that's still the mentality. And that's something I would encourage you to think about. Like, do not go broke paying rent. Like there are guys that will rent ground just so that they can say that they have the acres, and they have a very poor ROI, return on that ground, because they're paying so much rent. So you don't want to be like that.
Yeah, there's going to be a fine line between being aggressive and, well, just crossing that line.
Yeah.
You know, and you gotta, there's probably gonna be times where you gotta go all the way to the line. And yeah, I don't know. I always think about that. And I think I mentioned it on here 2 or 3 weeks ago when Rob Sharkey was talking, when he was
at the funeral,
in line at the funeral, and the landowners had died. And I guess the landowner worked the ground, and the guy literally in front of him, you know, giving his condolences to the widow, said, you know, if you need anybody to work the ground. And Rob was thinking to himself, damn, dude, like, let him at least get him in the ground before. He's like, but you know who rents that ground? That guy.
Yeah.
Like I guess the point there would be, the widow apparently didn't think that it was too soon. You know, she may have been relieved that, oh gosh, I didn't know if anybody would want to rent this whole place, you know, kind of thing. When in reality, people was probably 100 people lined up to rent it. But yeah, I mean, right. And so sometimes there is a fine line between just being a good business practice and it being out of line. And what some people consider one versus the other is maybe completely different. You know? Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you kind of the way I look at that. You know, I do like to be able to go to the house and put my head down on the pillow, and you know, when I lay back, I'm not wondering, did I was that right what I did? Yeah. Like I don't ever have to worry about that. So, and I don't want to, so I won't cross. There are lines I won't cross. Tell you what I will do. So anybody that's listened to the show knows I'm not particularly a huge fan of large scale farms, just because I do think that they kind of hurt agriculture as a whole. So I'll just tell you, man, like if there's a guy working what I consider to be like a shit ton of ground, and there's 100-acre farm that he works, I will damn sure go after that farm. Like now, unless the guy is a friend of mine, I guess that's the caveat I'd add. And this is where this is a real wake up call for me. You know, actually know who your friends are in the game, because there are some guys when I first got into it that I was like, well, that's my friend. You know, I trust them. They're not going to do anything. And one of them was the first one that tried to rent 50 acres out from under me. So that was a real wake-up call. So one, I would also caution you, be very careful on who you trust in the game. But then the ones that you do trust, don't cross them. Like, and I have a particular, a very small handful of farmers that if they're working a farm, I don't care where it is. I don't care how good it is. I don't care if it joins me. If it's like literally I could drive straight into it. If they're working it, I'm not even going to inquire about it. And because that's just, and if that landowner were to come to me, I would probably just call my friends and be like, your landowner's calling me. Like, you don't burn your friends in this. But now, if it's somebody that ain't my friend and they're like an acquaintance in the industry, it is business to me. But I also don't go about it by calling and saying I'll pay more than them. I would just reach out to their landowners and just see kind of if they would consider changing. But if it's a big farmer, if they're working like an astronomical load of land, then I'd be like, well, I don't give a shit anyways. They need to lose some land. It's kind of the way I look at it. And another thing I would add, don't be scared to, and this adds a whole element, but don't be scared to look at farms that need some work. One of the farms I bought was a 130-acre farm, and about 5 acres of it was clear. And we have been clearing it. I've got probably close to 50 acres of it clear now. Now, it's an investment because I had to get the equipment. I had to get track hoe to clear it. But that opens doors, too, when you get the equipment necessary to do that, because then I picked up some more ground around there that also needed a lot of work. But once the work's done, I'm going to have picked up, by the time that farm's clear and where I'm working at, it'll be an additional 400 acres. So that's something to think about. Just explore all your options. I'm trying to think of any way to, the cool aspect. Do put some weight on that. It's easy to be like, nobody cares about anything but the money. And that's probably, I would say that's probably overall most likely. But if you can come up with figure up your amount and you have a competitive rate. Now, again, if you got a guy over here paying $250 an acre and the ground's worth $150, don't go up there and offer $250. Again, don't go broke. But I mean, you run the numbers, run your estimated yields, figure out stuff like that. You can get soil maps on these places, get an idea of what they'll yield, and go from there. But make a competitive offer and just don't go broke paying rent, and kind of set yourself apart from the others by kind of changing up how you do things.
Yeah.
Oh, you got anything else on it?
Yeah, it's good luck. I mean, that's kind of really what it comes down to.
Be good to people. That's why I don't like the route of like going and trying to undercut people, because, man, I tell you, most of the ground that I picked up has been just from, honestly, a lot of it's been from people just helping me out. Like I've networked, they know I'm looking, and like I'm loyal to certain companies, loyal to certain, and loyalty pays off, definitely. So that has helped me astronomically. So,
well, and I would even say like other farmers in your area that you are really close with and good relationship, let them know you're looking. They may say, well, you know what? We've got this farm that we really ain't that crazy about working. It would be really handy and close by for you. And
I've had that happen one time.
It may not be a farm that, is super desirable for guys that are working, 10,000 acres.
Yeah.
Of course, again, it depends on who they are. And, they may laugh at you, kind of thing. But
I have called some of the farmers that I'm friends with. I've called them about certain farms. And I've been like, man, this farm's right here. Would you ever consider letting it go? If you ever do, man, I'd love to work it. I've done that. I mean, I'm just telling you, it sounds silly to be like, let people know you're looking, because everybody just assumes like, well, hell yeah, I'm looking. But if you don't tell people you're looking, then you're not going to be a blip on the radar. People need to know you're looking. And again, that's why I'd put it on social media. If you go to John Deere, you get parts. Hey man, if you hear of any land, let me know. You go to your local seed company, whatever. Hey man, you hear, just keep it in everybody's ear that you're looking. And, be patient. Again, I'm up to around 1,500 acres, and it's took me about 9 years to get here. So, I mean, somebody might be like, man, by 10 years, I want to be working 10,000 acres. That's a pretty lofty goal, but
yeah.
So I hope that helps. Again, sit down and crunch numbers. What I would do, I'll offer this and then we can bump to the next thing. But what I would do is I would figure up, all right, you can get an idea of how good the soil is, figure up an average yield and figure it on the low. When I budget in farming, I always figure on the low. So if I got a farm that it pretty much is going to always average 48 bushel of acre beans, I'm going to figure about a 42 bushel average, because I like to figure it on the low. And then figure up your price. And if the market's today, say $13.50 on beans, I'm going to figure about $12.50 on beans. I'm going to drop about $1 off of there. So I've got a little lower yield, a little lower on the price, and that's going to be your per acre. And then figure up, what are you going to be spending on your inputs, and subtract that from that. And then you'll kind of have your profit remaining, and you're going to subtract your equipment note and then your rent. And then from there, that's when you figure up your rent. Okay, I can, if I pay them this much money at those yields, that price, I'm only going to make a $5 profit per acre. Then that's not very good. So, you need to, that's what I would do. And just, again, I've said it, I'm going to keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it. Do not go broke paying rent. And that is pretty much what I'll end it on.
Yeah.
Grady, thank you for writing in, man. We really appreciate that. And that's, keep being a nice guy. I do think that in the end, the nice guy actually wins. I'm kind of a believer in that. So we appreciate you writing in. For anybody watching or listening, you can go to talkdirtpodcast.com, go to the contact section, and you can submit your questions on there. We will answer any of the questions you send us. Any of them. I mean, whatever. Send us that. All right. Got another one here from Bryson. Okay. As I sit here enjoying a beer, I do apologize. Because they submitted these in early March, but we've just been slammed here. All right. As I sit here enjoying a beer while listening to y'all, hopefully it's not a Bud Light, answer my question in the latest podcast. Okay. So we answered his question. Yeah. Bryson of Bar M. He said, I had a brilliant idea hit me. I know how y'all can get Bobby Lee's YouTube views through the roof. Keep him in shape so he doesn't have to waste time running, and get your vegetables sold all in one fell swoop. It only requires Bobby Lee staying one step ahead of a pissed off mama cow. Y'all come down here to the deep south, get some full Brahman stock. I know where there are some good wild as hell stock for cheap. Come calving season, Bobby Lee does 30 days of defying death, resulting in a huge following. This sounds pretty good. So big, y'all can get some bleachers and charge admission when he is checking calves. You can sell your vegetables at the concession, and maybe even some quarters and halves of Bobby Lee's feeder steers. Bobby Lee will get in prime shape, supermaning over fences and playing rodeo clown. Get Willis involved down the road, and he will be D1 bound by the time he graduates high school. Yeah. It is a recipe for success if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, I could see where I just die on that day too, and then it's just all over.
He said, all jokes aside, thanks for answering the questions. Keep up the good work. First thing I do Thursday morning. Sorry, guys, we're dropping this one on Friday.
It'll be Friday this week. That's my fault. I was, like I say.
That's all right, yeah. He says, when I jump in the truck is download the latest episode. Always look forward to the videos. Man, appreciate you, Bryson. Yeah, that sounds good, man. Y'all just need to stay on Bobby Lee.
I do turn 40 here in about 2 months, so.
See, it'd keep him young. You'd be young, jumping fences and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like we were just talking about it. There's a fine line between good content and just dumb ways to die. Yeah.
Did the leg heal up?
From where the bull caught me? Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, then you're ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I've been over that one for a while.
Well, yeah, you're ready then. You're ready to take another injury.
Yeah, I don't know. that one could have been a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, I know. Well, and again, I'm already getting mad at myself. We do not have documentation of that. That is,
yeah.
That would have been a huge bummer.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So, well, that's awesome, guys. Again, please submit your questions. We have a great time answering questions, and always appreciate you writing in. And so we will update you. You know, I hope that our listeners appreciate. I think let's end on the update of what happened here. Let's jump into our show. I hope our listeners are also following along. They may be like, oh, damn, here they go talking about this gay show. Yeah.
And I would understand if they have not taken the time to watch it. I would imagine we might have some radio dials clicking off, or they're skipping ahead to another podcast. But I have gotten roped in on it.
I have too.
So we're both caught up now. So we're episode 5
dropped yesterday.
This week.
Yeah.
It would have been Wednesday of this week.
Yeah.
I guess this is going to come out on Friday morning. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert on dating shows, but I feel like it's come together pretty nicely. Like, they're kind of getting it narrowed down. I think all the dudes are really likable. Like, I've found myself kind of rooting for all of them, where at first I was kind of like, this is all goofy.
Yeah.
Then it's still goofy. And it's such I mean, it's all for TV. Like, and they've kind of dramatized some of it up, more than they probably had to. Yeah.
Well, when the actual thing happens, that they'll be like, oh, it'll show you the teaser. You're like, oh shit. And then it gets to the episode and like, it's not dramatic at all what actually happens.
Oh yeah. Now, and our boy Alan from Tennessee, you know, at times you want to be like, and he's the worst personality on the show. But then at other times you're like, he's the only one with the nuts to go ahead and
send them home.
Yeah. And like, he really, like, I'm like, you know what? He's probably, because the ones that are just like, I'm not sending anybody home, I'm like, we're not getting anywhere. Like we got to do something now.
And the show's got to end. So they're going to come to a time when they're going to be like, okay, you got to send 3 women home in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, and I think the women are starting to get really frustrated too, because they're just like, what the hell? Like, like, we want you to send one of us home. We don't want it to be us, but like, we ain't getting no closer to the end.
I told Marcy that because she watches it with me, and I'll be like the chicks when they'll be like, I'm just going to keep everyone here, and they cheer. I'm like, why would they cheer? They want people to go home.
Well, and it seems like that's starting to turn a little bit, where they're like, you know, come on, like, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like, Ryan is definitely the smoothest. Like well, heck, he wasn't even going to send the girl home that he sent home until she kind of forced his hand, more or less. And and I don't know. I feel like his chicks are all like, he keeps them more content because they all like legitimately.
Oh, they want the guy.
Yeah,
they want the dude.
Whereas I guess it's. Like, I don't know, some of the chicks are, you can almost see her like, I'm just ready to go home.
That
like,
Landon guy, the Oklahoma dude, I think his women are kind of starting to, him and the Georgia guy, their women are kind of teetering on him.
Well, that's what Hunter, and again, I based a lot of this, the one girl that he still hasn't chosen to go on a date, like, just purely on looks, I'm like, she's tall, blonde-headed.
Is that Devon? Yeah. I'm like, I felt bad for her. Because he took Megan on this last date.
Yeah, but he knew, you could see that coming from a mile away.
That's who he's going to end up with.
I think there's probably a real good chance. I think he, just based purely on looks, he's still got the best group.
I think the Kelsey chick's pretty hot that Alan has.
Well, and I think she's probably the leader right now.
Yeah, the Rebecca chick's pretty good too.
Yeah,
Cassidy's a freaking nut.
Stage 5 clinger is what that one's going to
She needs to go. She needs to get out of here.
Now, everybody has known a girl like her at some point in their life, and now he does not need that in his life. Like
I knew when she like basically forced his hand on a kiss.
Oh yeah, she's like, she's way too much.
She uses that because she knew that it was going to piss chicks off. But I appreciated
I felt a little bad for her, kind of, and that's just in that, because she was wanting to keep it to herself, whatever. And then they kind of forced her to do it.
She'd have found a way to get it out there.
Well, I don't know that she was going to, though, until they put her on the spot. Or like, but yeah, she's like, she needs to go.
Well, that's what I appreciated.
But the show producer was like, all right,
you got to stay.
We're going to get some of these other dudes to, like, we can't have Alan down to 2 chicks and everybody else still has 4. Because the other 3 guys all have 4 still.
I think so.
They've all just eliminated 1, but
because Alan started out, right out the gate, boom, sent 1 chick home.
Yeah,
and the chick he sent home on that last episode, she just, I told Marcy, I was like, I don't understand her surprise, because when he goes out to talk to her,
that was painful to watch.
Yeah, and he even told her, he was like, I'm awkward around you, you're awkward around me, and she's like, this is shitty, and I'm like. Yeah, he goes and sits. I was like feeling bad for him when he's out there trying to like talk to her, and she's just like staring at him, and he's like, sorry, I'll let you get back to it.
Yeah, well, it's at that point that they should have just been like, yeah, I'm just going to go now.
Yeah, I'd be like, I think you can pack up and have a good one. But no, and appreciated the Kelsey chick. She took him out there, and he was like, things are not what does he say? Things are not what they may seem, or something.
Yeah, he didn't want to be like, she basically forced me to kiss her, and it was like barely more than a kiss you would give your mom.
Yes.
Like, it was a kiss, by definition, it was a kiss. Like, that's about all it comes down to.
So I was Facebook creeping. So I found Cassidy Joe on here. I found all of them, and I'm thinking they might have had to make these because all of the girls have the farmer wants a wife cover.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, no, I guess that is her real thing. Because apparently, see, she was Miss Miss Arizona.
But they can't. I'm sure they can't be posting to social media right now.
They are, but it's all tailored to the show.
I imagine they almost have to run it by the show producers because obviously they can't let it be known who they either are or are not with the farmer.
Yeah. I wanted to find this. All right. So I was reading some of the comments. This woman commented on Cassidy Joe's thing here and said, he should send you home after you harassing him to kiss and hug you. Those are warning signs. And Cassie wrote, oh, yeah, major red flags for sure or something. But I was just laughing. But I've found, like we've talked about, I found Alan and stuff on here. Dude, we got to get, I'm like determined, we got to get one of the dudes on the show.
I would say if there was a chance of us being able to do it, it'd be after the finale or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how many episodes there are.
I don't either.
They just did 5. I would assume maybe 8.
That's the number that I was having in my head.
It'll go fast once it gets down to the end just because there won't be that much content.
Yeah, they're going to tell Alan, they're going to be like, bro, you got to pump the brakes, man.
I wonder if it even gets to a situation where, like, he was trying to send another one home. They're like, no.
Yeah.
No. Like, y'all got to hold it together.
Yeah, they may be like, Cassidy Joe has to stay. He's like, this crazy bitch has to go.
Oh, yeah, and then they're like, no.
Yeah, keep her. We need this chick on here.
You got to have the villain.
Yeah, we need her on there. No, it is an entertaining show.
Like he's probably afraid because whenever she does go, there's liable to be sparks or fireworks. Maybe not sparks.
Yeah,
full blown fireworks.
She's a nut. Like, did you ever see the movie Fatal Attraction?
Is that the one with I think I have.
The Glenn Close and Michael Douglas.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Michael Douglas. They're in like San Francisco, like on the bay.
I think so. They have
like where it's the setting.
He has an affair with her, and she's.
Is he like the police investigator?
He's something like that.
Yeah.
Well, no. Hold on. You're thinking of Basic Instinct.
I am thinking of Basic Instinct.
You would think of Basic Instinct, wouldn't you?
I don't know if I've seen. They're both like what 80s.
Yeah, Basic 90s. Instinct is the one where Sharon Stone crosses her legs and her vagina shows, and all the guys are like. I'm pretty sure Michael Douglas and her actually cracked in the movie.
Fatal Attraction. I don't know that I saw that one.
Well, I was actually about to be really proud of you because I thought you were about to say, is that the one with Glenn Close and Michael Douglas? And I was going to be like, damn, look at Bobby Lee. He's got some movie trivia. No. Yeah, Basic Instinct is the one you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Similar, but yeah, they said they actually cracked, like in real life, in the movie. That'd have been wild. That would have been wild. But in Fatal Attraction, it is what it is. This chick is literally obsessed with him.
Michael Douglas is the one that threw me off. It's like
he's in
Michael
both.
Douglas. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that now.
Yeah. Well, the chick is obsessed with him, like to the point, like he tells her, he's like, you got to leave me alone. I think he's even like, it gets to the point where he's like, you're a psycho bitch. He's like, leave me alone.
A movie they couldn't make today.
No,
like they wouldn't even let him say that. Right?
Yeah. Well, he comes home and his kid, because he's a married man, but he had an affair with this chick, and his kid has a pet rabbit, and he comes home and there's like a pot on the stove and it's boiling something. And he goes in there and she's done killed his kid's rabbit and like thrown it in this pot and has it boiling on there. And that's all I can think about with Alan. Like, Alan's going to dump this chick and he's going to walk into his shop or something. And his dog is going to be boiling in a pot and Cassidy's going to be the one that did it.
Yeah, something like that. It seems like that kind of plot that they have used over and over in different movies. There was another one I've seen.
The psycho girlfriend?
Yeah, like, dude,
Wedding Crashers. Stage 5 clinger.
Well, no, we're like a man, has an affair with a woman, regrets it, and, it's like, no, I'm sorry, whatever. But no, she like goes beyond the stage 5 clinger, like turns into like a
stage 6 murderer,
like psychopath, like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of a lazy, I guess, plot that I guess has been just reused.
Well, and
times.
that, Fatal Attraction, that's an 80s film, so it might have been one of the kingpins, like one of the early players. But
Yeah.
Glenn Close, she's and she looks like a psycho in that movie. Like, she looks crazy. So, and they cracking it, but I don't know that it was actual real cracking. Like, Michael might have been afraid of her.
I don't think in most movies they're supposed to.
No, I'm pretty sure that's not real common.
Yeah.
So yeah, hey, look, it is an entertaining show. Farmer Wants a Wife. We obviously are rooting we're rooting for all of them, but we're kind of pulling for Alan to find him a good chick because he's a Tennessee guy. Not that far away Tennessee guy either. So we're pulling for Alan, and yeah, check it out. It comes on Wednesday nights. It's on Hulu actually now.
Yeah, I just watch it on the Fox app.
Yeah, Fox now you can actually watch it for free.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Hulu, you don't have to watch the ads.
Well, that was annoying because I was watching the episode in the airport today.
Was it that STEM commercial, the cartoon?
Oh yeah.
What is that?
And then it was funny, and I guess it's good marketing. It was like dueling ads between Gain and Tide. We're not sponsored by any of these, so we should probably quit giving them ads.
A shout out.
Literally, like they would follow one after the other. I'm like, well, I don't know
Which one to use, damn it. Yeah. Well, yeah, y'all check the show out. It's entertaining. You could watch it with your kids in there. It's like there's nothing bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's on Fox, so I think there was the time where they had to beep out. It was, I think it was obviously shit.
One girl said this is really shitty.
Yeah.
Because Alan is like,
yeah, it's on network television or whatever you call it when it's the major channels. Yeah. So yeah, it's all PG or PG-13 at the worst.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap this episode up, I guess we got to tell a little bit of update for everybody. So we did have last Friday, man, and actually I didn't realize this, and Mr. Mike Quinley actually is the one that pointed it out to me. I was telling everybody we had a terrible storm hit here about 5:30 on Friday afternoon. And I was telling everybody that we had straight line winds here. That's what I thought. Well, apparently we had two tornadoes. There was an EF2, EF3s, if I read right. But apparently one of them started like right out here. Did you know that?
No.
I did not.
Because I figured what I had, just based on my damage, was all just super high winds.
That's what I thought. But then Mike Quinn, I said that on a YouTube video, and Mr. Mike commented, he said, Logan, they actually said that one of the tornadoes started on highway out here. I don't want to, in case we have a Fatal Attraction fan, I don't want to say my address, but started out on this highway. And he sent me the link, and it says that its initial spot was out on this highway.
Huh.
I said, wow. So, because I was outside in the carport going back and forth. I had my kids in the basement. And I was telling everybody, like, when it hit here, I could see the wind. Like, I was like, for the first time in my life, like we saw a tornado out here 2 years ago. I mean, you can see the darkness and spinning in the sky, but like, I was just looking out towards the road and the best way I could describe it is I could actually see the wind blowing. And then I ran in the house, got in the basement, and in a 10-second time span, it was gone. I walked out. The roof had been blown off of the barn out here. My two bottle calves were just like standing there like, because they were in there. Their eyes were huge. And now you had a tree across your road, didn't you?
Yeah, I couldn't get to my house because I was not at home when it happened. And I couldn't get to my house at first. And we've got trees down everywhere. I mean, didn't fall on anything other than fences, but by golly, they caught some fences.
Well, and it wouldn't take much of a tree to block your road.
Yeah, I live on a one-lane dead-end road, and it wasn't much of a tree.
I used to hate driving a big truck down that road.
The most dangerous thing I did, because as soon as I was trying to get home to see if everything was still there was a tree across the power line across my road, and I threatened my son's life. I was like, because I wanted to, because I couldn't see my house. I had to get out and and run about a quarter of a mile down the road to be sure the house is still there. And but I didn't want him getting out with me because he would just slow me down. Plus, it was power lines right there.
Yeah.
I was just like, you do not get out of this vehicle. Because I did last time, which there was no power at that point. But still, I was like, do not. And he didn't. He did good. And I was.
So you put the fear guide in him enough.
Put the fear guide in him, ran around the corner to where I could see the house. Like, our house is still there. My wife was freaking out because she was in Louisiana. Of course, at that point, we had no phone service, so it didn't matter. I couldn't tell her anything, but I made sure her horses were fine. Then we tried to go to our other farm. Yeah. And that's where it was really bad. But it's still, I still have a hard time thinking it, because it eventually touched down like around Brighton, and then that's where, I mean, it did massive damage. Yeah. Through Brighton into Covington. And you look at the path, like that was that exact same cell or whatever that went over my other farm. But I don't think it was an actual tornado there. I mean, I don't
think my thing is I don't think it wasn't
on the ground.
See, that's how I think here. I don't think it was actually on the ground. Like
here, and I'm not an expert but like all the trees are laying like west to east, the exact direction it was traveling. Like, it's not like things were twisted around or like every tree. I mean, because I can tell you where probably 25 of them are on my fence still. Yeah. They're all laying the same direction. The same state highway was completely blocked, but it was pretty cool. Like, so when we got up there, we couldn't even get near the farm. We had probably to park again about a quarter mile back because there were so many trees over the road. But it was like the redneck army,
showing up.
Whatever was it in Louisiana or whatever? It was like the redneck armada when all the guys showed up with boats to rescue all the people in one of the hurricanes. Hurricane
Katrina and all them, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's there. I mean, there was not a single like official county first responder or anything there. Public Works. It was all just. I think there was a tractor, a backhoe, and a skid steer all there. And I mean, this would have been within 30, 45 minutes when it went through, and probably a dozen chainsaws. And I mean, the road still ain't great. Like the county still needs to, because the trees are all the way up to the edge of the road. But within 30 minutes, they had the road open again. And, but
it was a skid steer wet dream, man. There was more skid steers.
Well, I've commented it. I had a buddy, shout out to Rhett. He actually lives right out here across the road.
So the one I saw where you came and cleared, helped you out?
Well, he was messaging me, and I have to give credit to more people than just him, because I had several other people, my dad, my brother, amongst them, helped, and all kinds of people, when my phone would work, were blowing me up like, man, you need help with anything? Yeah. Which I don't even know how people, I guess just because they heard it was bad in that area. I was like, no, we're fine. Like, go to Covington, help some of those people. But he was like, they wouldn't even let them in. And I know, like, if your home is damaged or it's anything where the insurance is going to be involved, they have to be a little bit careful about that. Yeah. That was his thing. He's like, I don't think I can. He's like, I'm coming. I was like, all right, well, come on. Yeah. And I was amazed. I joked. I was like, the most expensive part of this whole storm is going to be the fact that I've got to buy a skid steer now. Yeah. That thing, I've never heard anybody that's ever run one complain about them. Yeah. Like bash them, say, oh, it won't do this. But they're so compact and small, you don't realize how much they can do. Yeah. And we had a huge pecan, and apologies to anybody who've already watched my YouTube video, because they've already seen all this. And like, okay, it's right in the middle of my barn lot. It's going to be an eyesore, but like whatever. And then it hit me. I was like, I've got to haul my steers to the processor. We killed 2 of them Monday. Yeah. And this is Friday night. I'm like, I don't think there's any way I can get that tree cut up and moved
in that amount of time.
Like, I was like, I was like, I probably can, at least enough where I can get a trailer by it, but it will take all weekend. 2 hours. It took him exactly 2 hours. And that was with us, stopping and, like we weren't like rushing, and warp speed. And I was doing a little bit of chainsaw work on some of the bigger stuff so he could grab it. But for the vast majority of it was just him. I was like, this is like, I was dumbfounded at how much it did. But I think it's safe to say, and this wasn't my area specifically, but more what you see around the Covington area. That's the worst storms in Tipton County and worst storm damage in my 40 years.
Oh yeah, definitely in my lifetime. Yeah.
Like that widespread. I mean, there may have been some others where it was just real, but Are we still at just one fatality in the county?
Yeah. One
Okay.
fatality with 27, I think, injuries. And see, I went Saturday morning, I took my little 5090 tractor because my in-laws, they live on Marshall Road.
Yeah,
And see,
it was pretty rough right through
yeah,
there.
it was on the ground.
That was that same, yeah.
Yeah. And
It was traveling, northeast.
yeah. And see, 3 houses down from my in-laws were 2 houses, and one of them got flattened, and then the other one got about halfway flattened. But they were trapped. They were like, we can't get out. They're like, our road's trapped on both sides. So I drove my tractor. I was like, I'll go try to clear the road. I got up early Saturday morning, got my bucket on my tractor, and I struck out. And I told Marcy, it was funny, like, you help to help. But I said it was cool driving in with the tractor because, like, people be like everybody was waving as I'm, like, driving my tractor. I said, you feel like you're, like, the artillery headed to the front lines or something. But, like, I got there, and I tried to go around to the left of Marshall Road, and it was crazy driving because I left here. It was, like, 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday when I was driving over there. And that was when I was really able to take in, like, some of what had happened. Like, when I got to Marshall Road, at the end of Marshall Road, it's a big curve that splits around. Well, like, straight at the end of it, it was a truck that had just, like, at high speed had smashed into a tree.
Yeah.
And, like,
I went through there on Sunday.
And you saw that truck then, yeah.
And I was wondering, I was like, was that a wreck? Or did it pick that truck up and throw it in there?
I don't know, because that's where it was Saturday morning, and so...
It was still there Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. So I went to the left. I was going to try to get to them that way. Man, I got down there, and it was all the power lines were down all over the road, like the whole way up the hill and stuff. And I was like, well, I can't do anything with power lines. So I turned around, and I drove around the other way. I came down the little side street, and I got to where I was going towards their house. I couldn't even see down the road to their house because it was so many trees on the road. And somebody had been in there with a chainsaw and started trying to cut some up. It looked like probably the night. Well, I was able to push them out of the way, but the trees were so huge, I couldn't even do anything with my tractor. Like, I had a oh shit moment, like, because I got my bucket under one tree, and I got it under it, and I was trying to just scoot it. Well, when I picked up the bucket, it actually pulled the back end up. Yeah. And so I had to stop. And, man, it ended up, a guy showed up with a skid steer and some buddies with some, like, chainsaws with about 30-inch bars on them. And, dude, in about a 2-hour time span, they had that thing cleared. It was 19 trees on the road leading to their house. They got it. We helped them clean up on the road, helped them clean up at this house. They did most of it on the road. Well, we got where we could get to the houses and kind of help my in-laws and all them. But, man, I was amazed at what them skid steers could do. Like I was like, I can't believe how much weight they can pick up. Like, I ended up coming and getting a bigger tractor and took it over there, and I pulled some trees. But, man, I mean, some of them trees, it's going to take some track hose and stuff to take care of some of these. Like, as awesome as skid steers are, there are some trees that, if they cut them up, they can handle.
Well, that's most all the trees that I've got down on my farms, like that pecan that's down. I was asking Dad, he's like, that's trees 100 years plus.
Yeah.
And I've got some oaks that are just like, and it's all those trees that are down. I've got some of those oaks that are across the fence, and I'm just like, I guess I've just got to fence up to them, and it's half-assed as hell, and like just because there's no moving this tree. Like, it's deep in the woods.
See, and I don't think we could get a track hoe to your farm. I don't think we could get a low boy down your road because where you kind of got to go around that tree that kind of juts out a little bit.
Oh yeah. You're talking about at my house.
Yes.
Well, my house is not even my problem. It's at.
Oh, you're talking about on your other place. Gotcha.
Which I feel
we could get one in there.
Oh yeah, on the one end you could for sure. But see, I haven't even gone in that entrance to the farm.
Yeah.
Because that's where there was so much damage, and actually, I didn't even pay attention when I went by there today at that entrance. They had so much stuff piled up there in front of my gate, I couldn't like it would take me just a few minutes with the tractor and a bucket to move it, but I've just been going around the other entrance, and I've just been focused on the fences where my calves are right now.
Yeah.
But right there, there's an enormous oak at the corner of the property that the fence was nailed to. That's down, and I got to redo my whole corner there. Like it'll be, and I'm having a weekend warrior. Which I felt conflicted about even going out of town to the golf tournament, because I was like, man, I've got 3 days in a row off. I could be working on this, but I joked, I was like, I'll have to call Cordell and Cordell if I don't go. Which that's a divorce lawyer that specializes in representing men in the Memphis area. But because we were meeting the couple that we went to the tournament with, my wife's like best friend, and I've gotten to be really good friends with her husband too. But like her roommate from college, like hadn't seen him in a long time. Like my wife was going whether I went or not.
Well, that's where my struggle is, and this is something I finally had to just come to terms with is, man, I was wrestling with the fact that I have a track hoe, and they have all this destruction because the tornado, it hit Brighton really hard in Marshall, Indian Creek area, and it decimated parts of Covington, and wiped out houses, and so there's a lot of track hoe work. And so I'm like, I need to take my track hoe. I need to go to Covington with my track hoe. And it's a pretty big deal logistically to move a track hoe. That's the advantage of skid steers, is you can put them on a gooseneck and haul them anywhere. And they got rubber tracks. But like my track hoe, like the trailer I bought, I could actually move either one. I could take my Volvo. But it's like, I'm having to spray. I got to plant. And so that's what I told Marcy. I was like, I feel bad.
Coordinating to where it's needed.
Yep.
And then like, and again, when it's situations where insurance is involved, like that, I'm sure makes everything hairy.
And that's what I told Marcy. I said, I'm going to wait because there's some stuff. It's going to take a long time to get everything cleaned up out there. So I was like, my goal or my plan is to get the crops planted where I'm not like out here with my track hoe, because at the end of the day, I want to help, but at the end of the day, I got to make a living to keep doing. I got to pay to keep my track hoes. I got to make a living. So it's like, I want to get my stuff set by, and then I can move track hoes up and try to help out. And hell yeah, you got to make sure. I don't want to just show up with a track hoe and they'd be like, well, man, really.
Well, like you said, like, I don't know, like just you moving your track hoe there costs you a lot of money. And like my buddy that brought the skid steer over, and I knew he was going to say it, but I was like, hey, you want me to pay you? I said, cash, check, beef, whatever. And he's like, I don't want you, or I didn't even mention the beef at first. He said, I said, I knew you were going to say it, but I was like, man, you spent like diesel, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, all right, tell me your time ain't worth nothing, which it is.
Yeah.
But you still, that machine don't run for free. The wear and tear on it and everything else. I said, well, all right. I said, you'll eat some beef, won't you? And he said, yeah. So I was like, perfect. I was like, I'll take care of you. But
see, you just proved, like in the apocalyptic scenario, food will be our new bartering. Food and ammunition.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that because if
you just revealed your hand. Bobby Lee, where the food is now.
Well, no, and I think one of the alphabet agencies that takes our tax money.
Oh yeah, is that USDA certified?
Well, yeah, there's that too. Shit, I'm violating all. So, no, I think as far as like for taxation, like that's considered I'm compensating him. So if he doesn't claim that, like
the beef. Do they have to claim a value of the beef or something?
Well, yeah, I think like if we were just trading stuff because we're not, we're trying to. I'm no CPA or tax attorney, but
no, that sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, our federal agents that listen in for us they're going to swoop in. They're going to nail me for. The USDA is going to nail me. The IRS is going to nail him.
I don't know. You said his name.
I really don't. I never said his last name.
Yeah, that's true. Rusty Shackelford.
We're using aliases, so I won't compensate him at all. I really don't even know who the guy was. He just showed up.
Some random guy, showed up with a skid steer.
Yeah, but Yeah, it was. No, I had a lot of people reaching out and then appreciate it. And hell, I tell people, you feel like you're drinking from a fire hose when you find all the damage. You're just like, I don't know where to start. Like, and so I just started working on one pasture and said, I'm gonna get one pasture on this farm in decent shape. And we accomplished that on Saturday, and started working on it again on Sunday. And like I said, I probably should have stayed in town these last few days and kept working on it, but we'll get it done eventually.
It is a thing.
We're a whole lot better off than a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Well, and it is like you said. It's.
I'm still amazed there was only one loss of life.
I am too.
Because I kept saying, because it was like Sunday night before we realized that somebody had died, or at least before I had heard about it.
Yeah.
Which communication was very difficult there for a while. But I kept saying on my videos, like, I'm still not hearing anything of anybody dying. It's like, I can't believe that. It'd be a miracle. And sure enough, unfortunately.
That was pretty. I think that was on Indian Creek, where it got him. And yeah, man, we went Sunday over to a buddy that it hit their shop, they farm, and it like basically ripped half of their shop off. And I asked my buddy's dad, he was there just like walking around, and you're trying to coordinate everything, but it's stuff everywhere and tools and all kinds of, parts, like, they'll have bearings and stuff that they won't have any earthly idea, like brand new, that there's going to be, you'll have no clue what this goes to. And like I asked him.
All packaging's gone.
Like it'd be like a box here and then a brand new bearing in a bag right here. And so you're like, man, you have no clue what this goes to. And we were just trying to pick up everything and put it under the part of the shed that still was covered. And their sprayer was in there and the tornado hit their sprayer, but it didn't tear it up. Like the John Deere held out all right. It like ripped some lights off of it or something, I think. But it scattered stuff. It blew. They had two sheds. One of their shops, it actually blew the doors off the shop, and then it did okay, which is probably why it did okay, because the pressure was relieved. I've heard of people say if a tornado is coming to hit your house, you actually open a window on each side of the house.
Yeah.
And lets the pressure go through. Which, if you're watching a tornado, you probably ain't like, oh shit, let me go open the windows. That probably doesn't go through your mind. But like I asked my buddy's dad, I said, man, you probably don't. I said, it's probably just overwhelming. And he said, man, you just have no idea where to start. He said, like, literally everything in our shop is scattered. And like, that's how a buddy around here, his house got like decimated, and we were over there, and his stuff's everywhere. And it was like 15 people there helping. And he's like, you could tell the dude was like just dang near in a daze. Like, just took all of your stuff basically and just dump it out on the yard and scattered all over. I will tell you one funny note. So, because this is a serious thing. Obviously we're very blessed that we came out the way we did. This roof barn out here, none of us are sweating it. The calves were okay.
Well, that's another good deal where insurance take care of that.
Yes.
It's like, okay.
Yep. And Dad was like, well, it was open for years beforehand. But I'll tell you a funny story just to lighten the mood on it. So my mom was talking to this woman that her house got hit pretty hard. And Mom was up there talking to her, and she's a pretty funny woman. And Mom was like, did you find all your stuff? And she was like, oh, I found a lot of it. And she goes, she said, hell, I got a golf cart that's missing. She said, it's gone. Got a lawnmower that's gone. And Mom said, I saw a golf cart down on Highway 51, like down the ways. Is that yours? And she goes, oh yeah, that's mine. I got shit scattered everywhere. And Mom was like, oh, are you going to get it? Hell no, I ain't going to get it. Shit. She said, I'll let insurance worry about that or something. Like, but she was just laughing because she was laughing. She said, oh, I got shit scattered everywhere. So,
well, that's me on any given day of the week, but it's just because that's the way I live.
Yes.
Not because of a storm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my wife would tell you, she's like, yeah, that's pretty much how my wife describes my office.
Like a tornado hit it?
Well, yeah, you've just got shit scattered everywhere.
That's pretty much how mine is. Yeah. Yeah. So no, man, we all one, definitely, we continue to ask for all your prayers for Tipton County. You know, some parts of Drummond's, Brighton. I mean, a little bit around here in Munford, a lot in Covington, and like I say, in Brighton area. All the prayers appreciated, and you know, it's got a lot of rebuilding to do. So, and for everybody that's been asking, checking on us and stuff, we appreciate that. I mean, you know, I don't like to say like, man, we got lucky, because I'm not a believer in like getting lucky on that. I think we were blessed that went the way it is, and so appreciate all the prayers, and yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was a wild week. I hope we can make it through the rest of spring.
Yeah, get that out of our system, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, hell, we're under severe weather watches and warnings all the time, but like, of course, most of the time, you might have a tree down here or there, you know.
Yeah.
And that's it, you know, and then all of a sudden you have one like that. So
yeah, it kind of it reminds you that this is it's real. You know, this stuff's possible. So you got the company today?
So let me go to my list. Before that, I got to queue up our fearless leader.
Yeah.
We need to get him on the soundboard. So
yeah, we do. I need to figure out how to put him on here.
Words made in America.
I just have to make sure I have the mute off So let's get in here.
Yeah, we can put it on here. We got all kinds of little sounds. Like I said, like if Bobby Lee says something, we can.
Yeah. So go with one a little off the beaten path. Speed Queen washing machine.
Have you not talked about them before?
Have I?
I'm almost certain you have.
Well, I've got them on my list, but I got them on the list as one I haven't talked about.
I am almost certain you have, because I don't know shit about washing machines, but I have heard of those, and I'm pretty sure it's because of you.
Well, I might have now. It is made in the USA, and I'm proud to say I bought mine right here locally at our
Well, you can
store.
Talk about it again, because
Okay.
I think you have, but go ahead just in case.
So I just remember, which I don't even know. There might be
Speed Queen.
we had to buy another washing machine. I think the one we had
was it a
mine or
Maytag
my
or something?
wife's whenever I was in school, which hell, they may be made in the USA too, but
Yeah.
I know when I like dealing with the local store for a lot of reasons, but one is when I go in there, you know, I tell them like, hey, I want a good one. They're like,
Yeah.
all right. And that's what, that was one of the big somewhat, hey, the suckers are made in the USA. You won't go wrong. You won't regret it. And, we've had it. It's probably been 6 or 8 months since we got it. Now,
Yeah.
I put it on the list then, but I was like, this was a little bit off the beaten path, but I'll save it for one week.
Well, everybody has to have a dang washing machine, so that's.
Well, you go to the laundromat.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Need you to wash.
I must say, I don't want to do that, but yeah. Most homeowners out there got them a washing machine. Hell, even if you're renting, you got a washing machine. But
Speed Queen.
Speed Queen, I can't. I need to look it up and tell you.
That's
exactly
got to be
where
an old school name. That just it sounds like an old.
Well,
school
even
name. Does it look kind of old school?
Well, like the logo, yeah. It's kind of a little bit of a retro look to it.
That's what I imagined in my head when you said that. Picturing it.
Let me see. Hell, I don't know. It tells you exactly where in the U.S. they're headquartered, but let me go to the contact page.
Speed Queen's about to have like an influx of people ordering Speed Queens. I'm like, where is this coming from? It's going to be coming from Talk Dirt to me.
Well, it doesn't.
Uh-oh, did they pull a slick one on you?
No.
Does it say made? Yeah, or
no, I was just trying to find like where they're headquartered, you know, as
Gotcha.
far as, you know, where they in. I mean, they're not in Tennessee, I don't think, just because I would have heard of them if they were right around here. But
yeah,
American quality. For more than 110 years, Speed Queen has been produced quality products right here in Ripon, I don't know, R-I-P-O-N, Wisconsin.
Ah, Wisconsin.
So they're Yankees, but
Some cheeseheads.
that's okay. Yeah, American pride.
There you go. Something we love. We're all about it. Well, there you go, guys. If you shit your pants, you can use Speed Queen, clean it right up.
Yeah, made in Wisconsin. There we go.
Awesome.
Well, all right.
Well, that was a good one. We ran a little long, but that's all right.
And y'all catch up on Farmer Wants a Wife.
Yeah, I want some of the people watching our show to write in and let us know. Like, I want to know, are any of our listeners watching, or
like
y'all?
I say, we had one listener that was actually nearly on the show, but but has anybody else out there actually watching it?
Yeah, are we literally talking about it? And everybody's like, let's fast forward through the parts of them talking about this show. We need to know. I want to know. And again, to watch it, it is entertaining. I mean, it's a dumb TV show, but it's entertaining.
Yeah,
so
it is.
All right, guys, please hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and leave us a rating and review. As always, go to talkdirtpodcast.com. Reach out to us, shoot us a message on there. Any topic you want us to cover, we'd love to cover it. So we'll catch you next week.
Catch you then.